Hello and welcome. Today we are talking about how to prepare for retirement in ways that no one's really told you, right? You've learned, if you had some really good mentors, how to save for retirement, right? And then you kind of were told, well, retirement is all about maybe volunteering or getting really good on your golf swing, spend all your free time out on the golf course. But what if that's not really what retirement's all about? What if there's a lot more to it? And I think a lot of people that I've talked to, especially I remember my coworkers, as I was approaching retirement, I was excited and ready to go. And they were like, they had trepidation, like, what am I going to do in retirement? It's that feeling of that loss of identity, which is, I think, the biggest fear that I've run across from people as they're thinking about retirement is if I don't have the title, if I don't have the position, if my calendar is not full of appointments, who am I? If the letters after my name, the masters, the certifications are no longer relevant, you just feel like that loss of identity, that loss of purpose, and the loss of function to your day, right? It's all of a sudden a blank calendar, and that creates a lot of fear. And no one really tells you how to prepare for that. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So hi, I'm Julianne Price with Life Edit and Design, and I am very passionate about having a wonderful second act for everybody I come into contact with. I want you to be excited, to be like, there is something ahead of me, this vista that no one's told me about, but that is so amazing. And when you are excited and you're rippling out that energy, everybody around you is going to be affected by that same energy. And that's my goal, is to raise the vibration of the planet by having happy women out there. And the women that I really want to work with are people like you who kind of have done it all, right? You've checked all the boxes, you feel really good about all your accomplishments, but at the same time, you're ready for more. You're like, there's got to be more than this. But no one's really told you, well, how do you move into that second act? How do you move into retirement that doesn't feel like retirement that's not about golf courses and knitting? Like, what about that second act? And that's what I talk about. I don't identify as a retiree, right? I'm a second act coach because I'm doing more with my life. And what's so cool is that what I'm doing is by my design and not by anybody else's. So I'm hoping that as we go through this video, I'm going to share with you the EPIC framework. And my goal is for you to start to see new possibilities, things that no one has ever told you about how to really get ready for retirement and how to really get excited about what's coming, what's possible for you. So the EPIC framework, EPIC, we're going to go through each piece of that and show you how it relates to what retirement really, really can look like for you. So the first thing I want you to accept is that it's okay to feel a little nervous. You're a high achieving woman. You're used to doing everything, and you're used to being in control and running the teams and having that sense of importance. And I want you to know it's okay. In retirement, things are going to look different, but that doesn't mean that it's not more exciting and more driven than you've been in your career, right? Your career might be feeling a little stale right now, and it's okay. It's okay to want something new. And that's what we're really going to talk about today. So let's dive into the framework. So the first letter in the framework is E for energy. And in your first act, your currency was money. It was all about how do you earn more money, go up that career ladder so that you can take care of all the little people, so that you can have a roof over your head, that you can up level your belongings, your car, just that sense of money is the thing that makes the world move. And that's perfectly fine. And that's what it was supposed to do, right? Money was a tool to help you live that better life. Well, in your second act, that's no longer important. The new currency is energy. Because let's face it, we have a little bit more of a challenge as we move into retirement. You don't have the energy of youth anymore, right? Things have shifted, whether we want to accept it or not. Things have shifted in our body, and energy is now something you have to work on, and you have to be very aware of, because if you don't take care of that body, and energy comes from this vehicle, right? I was reading a book today, and I remember that one thing that really stuck out to me is the one thing that will always be yours throughout this entire lifetime is this. It's your body. That's the only thing you get to take. Your cars will change, your houses will change, your relationships will change. This stays. And this is your energy powerhouse. If this is taken care of, you have the energy. And that's what this currency is about. It's about you need to deliberately create energy in your body. You need to take care of this body in a way you haven't before. Like, even if you were fit before, you have new needs as you move into the second act. Your body needs different things, and it needs more fine-tuning than it did. The first act, you could be pretty abusive to your body. You really could overwork, not take care of yourself, kind of overeat, not get enough rest. That was all you could push through in the first act. In the second act, this body needs a lot of attention, and that's where we focus a lot on energy. So as you're starting to think about retirement, the first thing I want you to think about is switching your currency to energy, and to start thinking about, how do I need to take care of my body, and start doing some research on your own. What things do what does fitness look like now that I'm in my 40s, 50s, 60s? Because it's different. It's not about running marathons. God bless them. There are some people that still do that. But that's not what's best for your body in this stage. So you need to redefine what fitness looks like. What does workouts look like? What does your diet look like? You can't be as abusive anymore. And what does rest look like, and relaxation? I mean, isn't it really cool when someone tells you in this second act, rest and recharging becomes more important, more vital? That kind of feels like a breath of fresh air. Like, it's not about having tension in your body and going to battle anymore. Now it's about being mature and conscious of the choices that you're making and the way that you take care of this vehicle. How cool is that? You get to now take space. Like, as you move into the second act, your schedule isn't so chock full, right? And that's good, because now there's room for rest, there's room for reflection, and there's room to breathe, to actually take time to do some deep breathing. Take time for that yoga class where you really start to meditate and move into your body. Energy is your currency, and that's a good thing. Like, I hope you feel the shift. Like, when you think about money, do you kind of get tense a little bit? And then when you think about energy, do you feel lighter and more alive? That is the currency of your second act. So when I'm coaching with people, we talk a lot about energy and how to make sure that this vehicle gets the best of fitness, and a new kind of fitness, and gets the best of resting, relaxation, and connection. So this is all about your body. And it's about what makes you come alive. Like, when you were at work sitting at your desk, like sitting in this position like this, that was not letting your body come alive. In your second act, you get to move your body side to side. You get to take a walk in the middle of the day. That was one of my favorite things. I'd go out at like 10 o'clock and take a walk, and be like, I don't have to wait for my lunch hour anymore. I can take a walk now. I hope that's getting you kind of excited. Like, your body becomes a focal point as you move into retirement and not an afterthought. The second thing I want to talk about is the second letter, P. Plans and purpose. So as you're moving into retirement, you no longer have the career ladder in front of you. It's your plan, your purpose. You get to redefine it. Before, it would have been the corporate goals or the department goals, whatever you had set kind of by somebody else. And maybe you had a hand in it. You're high achieving. You probably had some input into those goals, but really it was about something else. And now it's about you. And it's about your contribution. You have these beautiful skills that you've developed throughout your life. Now you get to use them in a different way, in a way that you define. You get to decide what success looks like. And yes, that might feel a little bit scary, but doesn't it also feel a little bit spacious? Like, wow, it's up to you now. And I'm not talking about going out and perfecting your golf swing here or finding a great hobby. That's not what this is about. This is about what skills, what hard knocks, and those lessons that you've learned through life can you now apply for a new purpose to serve other people in your community, whether it be a global community or be your family community? Like, can you be the mentor now to the up and comings in your family or in your community? Like, wow, what do you get to impart? And do you get to sit back now and really dive into topics that before you could only dabble in and say, I really like to pursue this later? For me, it's the mind-body connection. Like, I always had a sense of it when I was at work. I knew, like, the stress would make me sick, and I could tell that was coming. Like, I'd know, like, post-convention, I would be wiped out and I would just be drained. So I was always very aware of how the mental stress was affecting my physical body. But now that I'm into my second act, I can really take time to say, let's figure this out. Let's really look into how I can do things with my mind that will affect my body in a good way. So that's a cool thing that I just didn't have time for during my first act. But now I have the space to really do that. And so what I want you to think about is, what are those things that you've dabbled with? What are those things that kind of gave you a curiosity? And now you could turn that into your purpose, and we can create a plan for that. But the cool thing is, it's your plan. It doesn't belong to anybody else. Nobody else gets to say. There's no committee that's going to vote on your plan. Success becomes what you define it as. And now this whole world opens up to you of all the things you were curious about that you now get to investigate. You now have the bandwidth. So again, it's not about going on the golf course, which you can love going on the golf course. I'm not saying you can't. But what I'm saying is, you get to have a deeper purpose, a richer life that's now under your direction. And that's what plans and purpose are. Then we move into I. So EPI. I is about the inputs. So before, when you were at your work, your inputs was the work environment that you probably had very little control over. And the people, your colleagues, they were friends by proximity, right? You knew a lot about your coworkers. You knew a lot about, maybe your clients and their lives. And those were the people that you interacted with. And of course, you still had your family, but a lot of your social network was a proximity network. It was people that you were just near that became your social circle. When you move into your second act, it is going to fall away to some degree. It's inevitable. The people who are still working away. And I remember when I would meet a retiree when I was still working and I was still stressed, I couldn't stand being around them. Even though they were people I was so close to originally, to see their happiness and their freedom, their vibration and my vibration were a clash. I was stressed out. I wanted what they had. There was a lot of jealousy. I wanted what they had, but I couldn't reach it. I couldn't get there. And so I couldn't interact. And don't be surprised if you find that when you go back and you try to talk to the people that are still in the game over there in the first act, that they can't relate to you and that they might not find that closeness to you. And it's going to happen and it's okay. You no longer have to have your social circle be a proximity pal circle. You get to now be very, very intentional about the environment you're in and about the people you attract and have interactions with. You get to pick and choose, but you now need to say, here's my new plan and purpose. Here's what excites me. Here's what I'm curious about. Here's what I want to dive into. And who are the people that will help me that? And if energy is my new currency, who are the high energy people I want to be around? Because chances are the people that you have in your old network, your first act, might not have that same energy, right? They're working on a frenzied, chaotic energy of pushing through the burnout energy. You're over here more with a nurturing energy, a holistic energy, an energy that feels sustainable. It's healthy. And that's not the same energy as your colleagues from the first act. And so you have to start to curate these people with the energy and the plans and purposes that are now in alignment with you. And so you also have to curate your inputs as far as your media consumption. Like, what are you watching? What are you still watching the news? Do you still need to watch the news? The news is so much negativity and it's so much marketing spin. Like, you're not actually getting news anymore. When you turn on the channel, you're getting a particular viewpoint. You're getting opinions of that station. And that's not news. So, and how's it affecting you? I'm very empathic. I can't say that word right now. So I have a lot of empathy. And so something happens on the news that's horrible, which is pretty much 80% of the news, it really affects me. It would make me feel fearful. It would bring up a lot of negative emotions, feel of anger, especially with what's going on in our communities right now in our country. And you don't need to keep drawing that in. Do you need a basic awareness? Yes. You could read a few headlines and kind of get the gist. You don't need to sit down and watch the nightly news. Certainly don't watch the nightly news at 11 o'clock and then go to bed with that being your last input. Start to change your inputs. Start curating really good inputs. Currently, my input at night is I'm watching personal growth before I go to bed. So that's the last thing in my mind. It's something very empowering. So as I'm falling asleep, that's what I'm carrying in. I'm not carrying in a crime show. I'm not carrying in some of those very, very violent TV series. Game of Thrones does not need to be the thing you watch before you go to bed. Start being very intentional about your inputs, the things that are coming into your brain, the things that are coming into your world, the people, the environments. Sorry about my dog. This is now your chance to really curate the best inputs because you no longer have to be in proximity to different things. You have the control of what's coming in now. And so that's the I. So we have energy, we have plans and purpose. Now we're curating the best inputs. And the last part is C for celebration. And the thing in retirement, and I think this kind of trips a lot of people up, is there is no more achieving in the way that, the structure of a corporate world or, if you're an entrepreneur is like that benchmark, like career promotion, certification, more staff, more responsibility, like that goes away in retirement. So it's harder for you to celebrate unless you start to realize I get to choose my milestones. Like the freedom that comes with this second act is like, it's mind blowing. And I hope you're starting to get excited, but you now get to choose what you're going to celebrate. You get to make your own milestones, and celebration doesn't have to be something that you're waiting for somebody else out there to validate you and say, yes, you did a good job. Here's your bonus. That goes away. Now it's like, I had a great day. Wow, I feel really good. I have energy. You get to celebrate all these things yourself. I actually created my own holidays because I didn't have to live by the corporate calendar anymore. I didn't have to wait for them to give me days off. Like every day is my day off. And I apologize, my dog's going to start barking. But now I get to choose all my own celebrations, and that is so cool. Making my own holidays, having a great time is just like, wow. So celebration is on you. You have to take control of it. You have to make your own milestones and really start to bring them alive. And I find I don't need vacation as much as I used to. So sorry about that. I don't need, like, every day feels like I'm on vacation. Like, my daily life is so free that I don't need to wait for these artificial times to say, oh, for the next 5 days, I can feel free. Oh, for the next 5 days, my calendar is a little bit lighter. Oh, for 5 days, I don't have to answer my emails. I get to do this every day. Like, I can pick and choose how often I read my emails. I curated the heck out of my email. Again, going back to inputs, I don't let a lot of people into my inbox. That's just it's not the way it goes anymore, right? So you get to have this spaciousness and this freedom that you don't need vacation anymore. You can travel. That's different. Traveling is experiences. It's not vacation anymore. Like, isn't that cool? Aren't you getting really, really, really excited for retirement? Because you get to redefine everything. Like, just that simple thing, like, you don't have vacation anymore. You have experiences. You travel. Wow. Like, the words you use change. Again, those inputs, the language is part of your environment, right? The languages, the words you get to use are different in your second act. I mean, I hope you're getting mind blown here. Like, there is so much possibility. So if you're feeling some angst as you start to think about retirement, I want you to, again, get rid of the word retirement, switch in that word second act. You get to do something new, and it's now your design, your purpose. You have a brand new currency you get to focus on. You get to make your own plans. You're going to curate out all that stuff that you don't want anymore, and you're going to bring in a whole new group of people, a whole new environment, and you're going to vibe up, and you're going to have that energy, and it's going to be juicy, and then you get to celebrate it. You get to go on travel experiences. You get to kind of make your own holidays. You get to set your own schedule. You can take the month of December off if you feel like it, because you're on your second act, and this is by your design. So I hope you're getting so excited. I hope this for you. The one thing I want to give you now to really help you get kind of focused on this is to do the energy assessment and the archetype assessment. There's 2 free assessments I have for you, and it'll give you an audio report. And I generate this myself. This is not AI. There's no bot here. This is me looking at your actual results. And I'll let you know that there's some clues that you've left behind that I can see that say, hey, your second act might really revolve around this and this. And these are the skills that you might be bringing into your second act. And it's really pretty profound and pretty personal. So I want you to go use the link below and go do these free assessments. Again, you're getting an audio report from me that is really going to open your eyes and start to get you really excited, because your second act, it's everything. It's so much more fun. Your first act was great, but your second act is epic. And I hope that I'll see you in the assessments and we'll get a chance to talk. So take care and have an awesome day.